Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined today by a very special guest. He reached out to me, a trans man, said, notice there wasn't a lot of trans men on the show. And I said, well, we got to have you on. We welcome Christian, a stylist from San Francisco.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Danny. Thank you so much for having me on the pod.
Well, Christian, I love that you reached out and you know, you understand that the point of the pod, or at least a major thing we try to do is, you know, talk to people who have different perspectives. We've only had one other trans man on the show. And
definitely.
I said, listen, normally people kind of have to pay to do an ep, but we're all about representation. And, you know, I mean, look, I'll start here. I feel like I don't hear a lot from trans men. I feel like there's a lot of trans women is more what you hear about. Why do you think that is? Is that just my bubble or my perception? What do you think?
No, I think that's pretty correct. That's usually the story that we hear is about trans women. And I think the story of someone who is traditionally masculine or living in a man's world, you know, as the patriarchy is right now currently, you know, transitioning into being a woman or living your life as a woman or someone who's more feminine, you're giving up a lot of privilege. And I think that's really interesting for people to hear about. And I think it's, you know, like watching someone go from someone maybe so hardened and masculine and fierce and then transitioning over into their true selves and watching them blossom into something more feminine or soft is it's really, it might be a little bit more interesting for people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is interesting. I guess I'm a little bit afraid to grapple with that because I want to grapple mainly. And you made a point, you know, that you're not speaking for every trans man. You're speaking for yourself, which
absolutely. Yeah.
Mandatory disclaimer. But, you know, I think, you know, probably your experience is somewhat representative. Maybe not.
Yeah. I also think too that like, especially in the rise of drag, like drag queens, in popular culture really brings forward the trans feminine experience a lot too. I know that there is a huge difference between drag queens and trans women,
right.
But I think having that sort of big transformation brought to the forefront of a lot of people's lives and television sets across America and now the world has really brought that forward too.
So it's kind of a thing. Right. Like, in other words, this idea of a masculine energy going feminine, which I think is common across drag queens and trans women, it's bigger in the popular consciousness because there's no trans man equivalent, right? Of like RuPaul. I mean, we're really talking about RuPaul, right?
Yeah, we are definitely talking about RuPaul. Yeah, there isn't really, you know, like a RuPaul's drag king race, although there should
there
be.
There should be.
I'm intrigued. I don't know if you've ever experienced the Boulet brothers, but they do a similar show to RuPaul's Drag Race, but it's very inclusive. There's drag kings, there's non-binary people, there's people doing drag for the sake of illusion and art on their show. So I think they're definitely breaking that wall down. But yeah, with RuPaul, there's not a lot of, you know, real like trans masculine energy there.
Well, that's really interesting. I think actually that's kind of clarifying for me. And maybe, I mean, honestly, this feels like kind of like I hope some like Hollywood producer is listening to this because you're like, that seems to be a missed opportunity for, you know, for a subculture. But I actually had another question about your sexuality. I didn't really clear this with you, but you were kind of flirting with me a little bit on Instagram. Fair to say?
Yeah,
a little bit,
you know, just a little bit,
a little bit, nothing, you know, just fun, you know, but I'm just curious. So you're a trans man, but you are attracted to men.
Yes. So I am a gay trans man, which I know that's like a lot to throw at people. And the idea that like, okay, so I'm going to transition to living my life as a man, but still date guys. What's that? And so
I'm so happy you're saying
that's a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah, well, talk us through it. I'm like crazy. I'm like, because that is what I would, honestly, I wouldn't have the guts to say that because I'd be like, you're being an asshole, Danny. But you said it. So yeah, I mean, talk us through it. Why then? Yeah.
Why? Well, you know, sexuality and gender is different, right? So that's two different things. So with me, I've always dated men. I've had, you know, I've had quick romances with women before, but it was always like with my boyfriend. like if we, like picked up a girl at a bar, it was always like with him. I never really pursued women on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think women are fantastic, really, but like there's no sexual interest there. That doesn't really,
Mm-hmm.
get my party going. So when I came out as trans, one of the biggest questions a lot of people had for me was like, well, are you going to date women now? And it's no,
Yeah.
women, I'm still not into it. And if anything, being on testosterone has made me more attracted to guys. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So I guess I just have more questions about just really the nature of being trans, because so it really isn't a sexual thing, right? Because your sex life, I mean, you're saying it's enhanced, but really it's the same.
Yeah.
You're chasing the same kinds of partners.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we obviously sexuality or gender extends beyond the bedroom. So what? Yeah, I mean, just break it down for me a little bit, for my dumb cis ass.
Well, like, so still dating the same type of people that I would date before. Are you asking like what is life like now that I'm
I could say all these trite things, right? I'm like, oh, you felt like you were in the wrong body and you wanted people to talk to you a certain way. And maybe those aren't necessarily wrong, but I'm just curious how you would explain it because, my understanding of it is, like me putting on a wig, it's like I really don't have any, I don't have any empathy because I've felt like I was born in a shitty body, but not the wrong body.
Oh, Danny, stop. You're out there running, you're improving it.
I am running.
But no. So, I think that there wasn't as much of like I feel like I'm in the wrong body. It was very much like, I think like the biggest thing I noticed was like going through puberty the first time and becoming a woman, as they say. I noticed a lot of disconnection between myself and my guy friends, the people I connected with the most, the people that I felt like understood me the most. It created this strange divide. And the way people definitely treated me wasn't, all of a sudden there was this, you have to be a lady, and people were treating me softer and men treated me differently. And that was uncomfortable to say the least. But I think the biggest thing is I felt like I was having to put on a costume every day and acting like the best woman I could possibly be. And that was what was most uncomfortable, is feeling like getting up every day was a challenge. Like
so dive into this for me. When you say put on a costume, are you talking about makeup and all the other kind of fixings of, gender, dresses, the specific feminine clothing? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Definitely. Like, putting on like a dress or shorts, or I still wear makeup. I still very much believe makeup is genderless, but definitely like putting on a dress and like all the jewelry and wearing heels. It wasn't just that heels were uncomfortable because they are. It was causing me major anxiety to even just get dressed, to even walk out in the world.
Pressure to look hot, fair to say.
Definitely pressure to look hot. But not like,
if
you think about when you get dressed to look hot, you're like, ooh, like I feel hot. Like there was never that sense. It was very much, I want everyone else to think I look hot. So doing the thing that you're not supposed to do, getting dressed for the rest of the world.
You didn't feel connected to the hotness.
No, not at all.
That seems okay. I get that. So let's go back in because, we've covered this a lot and I've said a lot of ignorant things. I've learned a lot about, for men, I think the way I'd like to distill this is, puberty for a man, a straight man such as myself, was my sexuality was turned on. It was activated. And now all of a sudden I went from this, asexual gray world. And by the way, I cried a lot when I went through puberty. So I don't think it was all roses for me. I had a lot of Catholic shame. But anyway, that all of a sudden, they were girls at the time around me. I was 13 too, became, there was a sexual aspect there, right? Boobs or whatever. But, and then the male gaze is that, whereas women tend to feel that they are sexualized. They don't become sexual. Men become sexual. Women are sexualized. That almost happens first. And
I can agree with that.
Yeah. And that was part of what happened to you, is that you were sexualized, but that isn't actually what you said. And I was noticing that you said more that you didn't like the way people were talking, like they were talking soft to you. I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah. Like if you think about how adult men especially like talk to girls, it's this very very almost calculated, and like they're trying to not necessarily be on their best behavior, because that's when you cross over into creepy town, but it's very much just they're like, oh, you're a girl and you got to watch out in the world, there's a lot of people who are going to try and take advantage of you. Yeah, that's was especially like, I can use my dad as the example. Me and my dad were super connected before I went through puberty. And then all of a sudden he turned into this like very, like, it's almost like he didn't know what to do with me. We got pretty distant. And like he definitely became very protective and didn't really want to like, he didn't know how to handle new activities. Like we used to build things together. And then all of a sudden his response was, well, don't you want to like go hang out with your mom and like have a girls' day? And no, I didn't want to do that. That sounds awful.
Oh man, that's actually making me really sad. I love that. That is one of the most insightful things I've ever heard about being trans. Cause I'm like, the thing about the way a lot of people address this issue is like, it's so vitriolic and nasty, but that is such a heartfelt example of how gender was fucking your life up. Your dad was actually obsessed with gender, because that's how they try to spin it. But it's like everybody else is obsessed with this thing.
Everybody else is. Yeah, definitely. And, people talk a lot about, I mean, if you want to, we can talk about all the physical stuff that goes along with transitioning. But really, the hardest part in my experience of transitioning is all the social stuff.
Yeah.
Like having people see you as the gender that you are, and having people, have to kind of change how they talk to you or act towards you, or how you start to change and how you start acting towards them. That's probably the thing that I've struggled with, and the most therapy hours that I've spent is that social transition.
And are you finding that, your transition helped a lot? And because it sounds to me, and this honestly is so damn practical, and it's just that you wanted to have the kinds of interactions you were having, the kinds of interactions that males have. And by the way, I'm totally guilty of all this shit. And I have caught myself doing this, 100%. I'm not going to say that I do this, with a woman I'm attracted to, and it's not attractive, by the way, I would suggest. So I see some of myself here. I'm kind of cringing at myself a little bit, but are you having more? Is that fair to say that you wanted to change the interaction types you were having, and are you having more of them?
Yeah, I think I definitely have better interactions with everyone around me. And I feel more confident in every interaction that I have with people, because I'm not trying. I don't feel like I'm calculating every move to be the best girl or give the best response or interact the best way that I possibly can.
Right.
Now it's just me living and talking and breathing, and like it's like being drop kicked into myself for the first time, because it's just not so hard.
And you kind of mentioned that, some of your interests might have been more stereotypically masculine. So how does that, but you told me you're a stylist. So I'm just curious, are you woodworking or do you have any of these stereotypically masculine interests still, or how does that play out?
Sure. So I do work in hair and the beauty industry. Yeah. And I think the beauty industry is also very genderless. I have mostly male clients, or like non-binary masculine clients. And that's kind of always been the way it is, just having more guys in my chair. And so creating kind of that space. But in terms of like masculine interests, I'm very, very into like skateboarding. I longboard all the time on the Embarcadero. Definitely that. Music, and doing like the behind the scenes of music. Unfortunately, it's a very like sausage fest industry, but I do a lot of like behind the scenes work in music rather than front of the house, which usually tends to be a lot more women or non-binary feminine. Like, they're pretty. They bring in everyone into their like hemisphere, like universe. And that's just sort of stereotypically how it's been.
You know what? A weird thought that I'm having though is that I guess I kind of feel like a lot of the almost all the listeners are women, and I guess I kind of get the impression that you kind of like guys, and I kind of appreciate that. Is that fair to say?
It's always been that way. I've always had more guy friends. I like women. I have all the people I work with in my my salon, it's all women. It's me and all these girls. And, you know, I love them. I think they're great. I just don't, you know, there's a different connection there. And I think maybe you can understand that, like the different connection between you and like your guy friends, and then the difference there with your connection with your like lady friends. It's probably a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I grew up in Arizona, and so a lot of like, you know, I mean, I'm 32, so a lot of my friendships are like pretty old and stuff. But I mean, I guess I would say this, like one thing I love to nerd out about is like audio stuff, and I'm always complaining because I'll see women on Hinge, and I would kill to hang out with this girl, you know, and I never get any kind of response on the like audio nerd stuff. So it bums me out because I'm like, that is something that I like to bro out on, you know, music and like audio gear and shit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I think one thing I've learned with time is that gendering it up, it usually whenever I do it, I get owned later. And I'm like, that doesn't hold any water because there's just so much variety in people, you know?
I think there's stuff. Yeah, there's stuff that's stereotypical, right?
Yeah.
And that's where things get tricky, is when you're like, well, no girls like audio stuff. Well, trust me, I know plenty of girls who love audio stuff.
No,
there's things, and it's funny when I like just, I got you. But you know, like there's things, what's also interesting in the world is when we talk about things that are masculine versus feminine, right?
Yeah.
And so like, beauty industry or like makeup is usually considered feminine, or like flowers or something are usually considered feminine. But I don't think that like labeling something as feminine or masculine means that the masculine person can't enjoy them or doesn't enjoy them. So like there's like the English language is also catching up and how people gender things.
Right.
But does that mean that one gender has to be into it, or is feminine or masculine more of a adjective rather than a gendered thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is arbitrary and bullshit. I mean, I did have this tweet, but then I was afraid to tweet it, and it's that guys have 15 kinds of gear and women have 15 friend groups. But let's get more into your haircuts, because I actually had a haircut breakthrough. So you're a stylist and an educator, and you told me that a lot of people come into the salon, they think they're hot shit because they went to cosmetology school. Wrong.
Oh, okay. Wait,
that's high school, you said.
Hold on. All right. So the way I describe it, and the way the way I describe it, and the reason I describe it this way is because it's how I went through it. So you go to cosmetology school, and it's like going to high school or college. It is further education. You are learning a lot, but you're not really applying it to real life. Like salon reality is very different than the bubble of being like having a teacher behind you show you things. I mean, it's like college, you know, people do that and they go to an internship and they either can hack it or they can't.
Right.
And so what we do at our salon is we have a program. It's an assisting program, but we call them associates. And they go through an education process. They assist all of us, mostly our 2 master stylists. Then they also are required to take classes, deeper education with us, going into theory and hands-on.
Got it. So it's kind of, you're the advanced teacher. I'll tell you this though, I have been a cheap haircut guy for many years.
Danny.
But guess what? I recently switched. I saw this.
Well, you're in LA now. So.
I know. I saw this woman, Dawn, and let me tell you that she cut my hair with a straight razor, which I didn't even know that was legal.
Ooh, okay. We like Dawn already.
She got in there. Okay, get this. And then it was basically $100 with tip and everything. And I was my God. And then I got a haircut from a barber who was frankly a savage and just like, ugh. And it was $50. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm in for this. I think and you know what though? It lasts so long. It lasted much. I think it's actually might be a better value. It definitely comes close.
And did she like sit you back? Did you get the whole like shampoo massage experience?
Yeah, I mean, I would maybe ask her for a bit more of a massage. I would say it's definitely a shampoo, but I don't know about a massage, you know. But you know, the hair, but here's the other thing. It took a long time too. It takes like an hour. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
she did work.
Well, when you go to your barber, is it like clippers? Do they just like wham bam clipper
I can't.
you?
I can't.
There's something for everyone, right? Like some dudes, that's what they want. They want that convenience, that quickness. They don't want that bonding, you know, or like that big conversation. And that's great for some people. And then some people want to come in and, you know, pre-pandemic, we served wine and coffee and waters. And yeah, it was a whole thing. So we created an experience.
For me, I appreciate the craftsmanship. And once she pulled out that straight razy, I was like, oh, Dawn, this is a level of attention to detail you just don't see. You know, it's the execution for me. Now, at this point, you guys probably all really like Christian. I know I do, but you did tell me that you have a rather unlikable job, and I'm half joking, but I'm kind of not joking, which is that you're also a promoter for a nightclub. This is considered one of the least likable things someone can be. I don't, according to Forbes. Okay, I made that up.
So
but anyway,
so let's check. No. Well, no, seriously, it's funny. So I do the dating app thing too.
Okay.
And you know, I used to think I was hot shit, right? Because I spent time with just nightclub people, and so like being a DJ and being a promoter is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But you know, when I started dating, people don't like that. I don't open up with it anymore. It's something I mentioned probably on like the second or third date rather than it being something that's like listed on my like Grindr profile. Like, we don't talk about it.
So let's go first to the promoter aspects. What does that look like? Because
it's changed a lot in the last few decades. So one of my best friends and like my DJ promoter mentor started out in like the early 80s. So like all the money for like advertising and getting people into a club was spent on like posters and poster boys who would like put posters up all over the city.
Yeah.
And you would buy ads in these like magazines and newspapers that you thought your demographic read. And you put flyers out at like bars on Haight Street and you're hoping like the right person would see it. Now, I probably spend not even 5% of my advertising promoting budget on flyers, and the rest of it goes right into social media.
So it was influencers.
Yeah, influencing, also like buying and purchasing advertising through
promoted posts.
I mean, Facebook, promoted posts. Also doing things through like event websites like Eventbrite, like your
so this is not nearly as skeevy. This sounds literally like promoting a comedy show. Yeah, this isn't as juicy.
Yeah, yep.
Because I had these memories of like these super slimy guys outside of a nightclub, and I can't remember what was so slimy about them, but I remember they're like,
they are slimy.
Yeah, there's something slimy, right?
It seems slimy because you're having that weird face-to-face like conversation with someone who's actually might not be very good at selling themselves or selling what you want to hear. And then also they're talking to you about something you don't care about. Now, when you're seeing promoted posts, you know, like you're getting something that's targeted for you. So I think though what happens in people thinking that promoters are so unlikable is that they're picturing that like slimy dude outside the nightclub,
that's
like throwing a flyer in your face. Yeah.
You gotta come.
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
the
be
thing.
Great.
It's gonna be so cool.
Tiesto's gonna be there. Tiesto's not gonna fucking be there. Tiesto's like 55 years old, bro. What are you talking about?
Is he? You know what? That's so funny.
He's pretty old, I think. Here, let's see. But now, but you're also a DJ. So just to what extent, Tiesto is 53 years old. To what, first you DJ using, are you an actual traditional DJ with turntables? First question.
So yeah, let's talk about this, right? I am the traditional meaning of a DJ, which stands for disc jockey. And I play other people's music. No, I'm not,
I got
like,
that.
Like some people, when I say that, they think I'm like, I don't even know any of the, I think I'm like Skrillex or something. And that's definitely not it.
Very offensive to me. I would never make that mistake, Christian. Skrillex is a producer, not a DJ. Very huge difference. World of difference.
Exactly.
Steve Aoki, borderline, but he's a fucking DJ, dog. Anyway.
And he produces things, but that's what people imagine now because of big festivals like EDC and things like that. But no, I play other people's music. I can DJ on traditional turntables Because I play at a lot of different venues around the city, though, I'm a laptop and tabletop controller person. Yeah. I don't carry around vinyls.
And what's your genre?
Oh, okay. I almost want you to guess.
No, I'm horrible. I mean, I thought you were more like goth and punk and shit because your name's Christian Crucifix, but does anybody I've never seen a DJ be like, drop the beat, and then it's like Good Charlotte.
You know what? That's so funny that you say that because I am an emo and pop punk DJ.
Fucking nailed it.
I do.
I nailed it.
And I definitely am like, let's go, guys. And then we're going to play Blink 182 and I've got an air horn effect and it's going to be great.
Oh my God, I love that shit. I actually like, what do I like? All American Rejects. I've always blasted a couple of their hits. I love it.
Oh my gosh. No, everyone goes crazy. Dirty Little Secret. You will see the buffest dude in the middle of the dance floor feeling himself. Dirty Little Secret. That's great.
Well, this is great. Christian, it's so good to have you on the show. And you guys go see Christian's sets and get your hair cut. Do what you got to do. And I am getting word from our satellite dish array in Reno, Nevada. I don't really know why we're using that intelligence provider, but we do have one heck of a net for you today. Our second story of the day, AITA for having a lights out wedding. Oh my God, that is so DJ right there. But first, folks, we're going to Trans Alley here. AITA for not letting my I regretted saying Trans Alley, but I think that's fine. Well, I guess that's kind of dark alleys. Now I'm getting self-conscious.
We're going to go take a trip down. Actually, I wouldn't even say that. So we're going to go to the trans side of things.
Trans side of Transylvania?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, I'm making it worse. AITA for not letting my trans daughter come out to our extended family until after our vacation. My daughter, F17, is transgender, but she is currently only out to her immediate fam. My husband and I call her by her preferred name and use the right pronouns for her. But as nobody else in the family knows, she's trans. They refer to her by her dead name and with he, him pronouns. So far, this has only been in periods of around an hour or two, so in her words, it's been slightly bearable. But the thing is, we're going on a week-long vacation with some of our relatives soon, and we are all sharing a house. Because of this, our daughter will be referred to by her dead name and will be presenting as a male. She has expressed her discontent with this to the point that she's considering not going on the vacation and staying home. But for her father and I both agree that she should wait until after to come out. It's not that anybody in the family is transphobic. If anything, they're the opposite. I'm not worried about her being in any danger or facing any transphobic comments, but I worry that it won't be enough time for them to fully understand that our daughter is trans and that the topic would take up the entire vacation, which nobody wants. We all just want to be able to have a nice vacation and not have to deal with this gender stuff. Am I in the wrong for not letting her come out, or is my daughter being selfish? This is such a good one.
It is good. There's a lot to break down in that, I think. So did they say like when they're going on vacation? Is it like next week?
It must be soon, but that's a very valid question, but I don't know if we have that info, because that was my thought too.
Yeah.
The account was suspended, so they probably argued.
Oh. Yeah, that would be my first question is like, how long is there before this vacation?
Let's say it's in a week.
Okay. I mean, I would say like if you tell them right away and give them a week of breathing room, like how would you feel, Danny, if you were going to go on vacation with like some of your friends and one of them came out to you the week before? How would you feel about processing that?
No problem. Wouldn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it wouldn't. I guess what I'm seeing here's my best defense that nobody is going to like me for. But guys, somebody has to play the other side, okay? I don't know how much these people work. That's a big question for me. How important is this vacation? Because I can honestly say, like right now, I'm in a much more chill zone. But there was a point in this year where like a vacation was like sweet, sweet medicine I desperately needed and didn't take. Sure. And if you work a high stress job, like you're a freaking lawyer and you work 70-hour weeks or 60-hour weeks, you got the fam and you're always on. I don't think it's totally crazy to be like, I don't want to spend my whole vacation on this big issue. I understand that. I do.
Yeah.
Because right? I mean, there's a whole X factor here, which is you don't know how it's going to play out. Your best case scenario, honestly, I'd love to believe this, where people are like, that's cool, that's fine. And they ask a couple questions and it's settled law in an hour. But like realistically, this is going to lead to drama of some kind.
There's going to be some aunt who like can't get it together and like is going to ask all these inappropriate, uncomfortable questions.
So you're gay. You're gay then.
Yeah.
No,
so
no, that's not what she said. That's not what she said.
No, that's not what she's talking about.
No, that's gay. Sure? That's gay. I seen that. That's RuPaul. No, that's
not at all.
Totally different thing.
And then, yeah, I think, you and I chatted a little bit about this before the show, but when I came out, I had a pretty big clientele and I didn't want to spend every appointment. And sometimes I've got 5 or 6 appointments a day. I didn't want to spend every appointment coming out to them, having it take up our whole hour.
Again.
Yeah, and again and again and again. And then also, I mean, our salon is pretty like LGBTQA friendly, but what if I had someone in my chair who wasn't okay with it? And then we had to deal with that. So, we sent an email and that's what it was. And then that didn't happen. But that's not the case with a family vacation when you're sharing a house. People are going to have thoughts and want to ask her things. And that's really, really difficult. However, the thing that I struggle with this parent is you're now asking your trans kid who is out, it sounds like 95% of the time at home. And then they're going to have to live and breathe and act as a boy. And that's sort of asking someone to be really uncomfortable for an entire week. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, playing it as it lays, I think there's a strong indicator that the flow of information is likely being controlled by OP. I see that here, right? I mean, they're controlling the narrative right now. I don't know if OP is the father or the mother. But
I don't think that would really matter.
Either. No, but
I
actually,
think a mom or a dad would have.
Heteronormatively, OP wrote, but her father and I. So OP's the mom, we'll assume.
Okay, so heteronormatively.
So we see here that mother is trying to control the flow of information because, I thought you opened this up with a good question, which is how long until the vacay? Why not tell them before the vacay? So in my view, it seems likely that the reason the extended family doesn't know already is because mother has controlled the info. Mm-hmm. And now we're at a breaking point where it's not like a couple of hours. Now they're in this thing. So I believe that's a pretty reasonable reading, playing it as it lays. But I did want to say, if that wasn't the case, this is what I want to think through. I'm not attached to any outcome here. Let's say that wasn't the case. I don't think it's likely, but let's just say it was. Right. And daughter had in fact not wanted to come out for whatever reason, and now she wants to drop it on the vacay. I would maybe say that I understand mother's perspective.
Yeah, that's a pretty big change in definitely what daughter. If daughter had suddenly decided like this is the vacation and like it's a week before, it's like, oh God, okay, like I don't know if I'm ready. And parents of trans kids do have to go through a lot of things. There can be a lot of loss that parents feel. There can be a lot of confusion. There can be a lot of recalibrating. There can be a lot of sometimes anger that even no matter how supportive the parent is, sometimes they go through these feelings of loss and trying to be supportive, but it's strange. And so maybe mom's not ready to field these questions because she doesn't really have an answer yet.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like mom is reasonably accepting. I'm trying to see the best
She's
in her.
Accepted maybe in the bubble of their household.
Yeah,
you're right. She had to like explain it to like her friends, like how she's feeling or her family? No, I don't think so.
Well, and I think where I'm seeing the parent side a little bit here is that, look, as a person who doesn't have any kids or even a pet and has a podcast and a job, there are times when like I don't want some kind of big thing to happen on vacation. So I do kind of understand that. And I also think, I guess where I'm divided is I'm like, okay, what is coming out? Well, unfortunately, it is not a celebration. in a lot of families. It's not going to play as a celebration in a lot of families. It just isn't. It's going to lead to drama.
Should, but,
absolutely it should.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we don't live in that reality where this is a sure shot. And even if mom was a great mom and she says, well, fuck your uncle, fuck your aunt, they're pieces of shit, that's still a bad energy on the vacay. And again, we don't know the work situation here. So I guess that is really my best defense that I can mount, is that this just introduces a lot of uncertainty and drama. And I honestly do think it has a very high potential of going wrong. That said, unambiguous for me that mother cannot mandate this. She cannot mandate this. Fuck her if she mandates this. What she can say is, I respect. Absolutely not. Right. And for all these reasons, I know we're aligned on the verdict. I think if mother said very simply, she said, listen, I love you and I do want all the family to know, but I personally am asking you, for me to if you could do a favor for me, is that if you don't come out in this case, because I think it's going to lead to drama and we don't even like your extended family all that much. Because that's the other thing too, like I'm not super close to so we don't know that dynamic as well. But like for me, if like whatever, my extended family is like super Republican. So let's say I came out, no, sorry, not going that way. I'm not going to bring up leftist politics with them, right? Let's just say though I got hired and I was making content for the Democratic Socialists of America. I am not going to tell them this information, that even though I'm proud of my new job, because it ruined the whole fucking thing. And in the end, it doesn't fucking matter. Like they don't need to know that shit. I know that's not quite the same, but I think it's a human thing. And depending on mom's stress load, for her to be like, hey, could you do me this favor? But the fact that she mandated it is fucked up to me.
I think if she was preparing her kid, if she was having this conversation with her daughter and saying, hey, have you thought about are you prepared to come out and possibly sit in discomfort? I mean, because both ways are going to be uncomfortable, right? She's either going to have to live as a boy, which is already uncomfortable, but she knows it. She knows how to live in that discomfort already. That's already a very familiar discomfort, right? True. She has already done it. But are you comfortable living in this new discomfort that might happen? How do you feel about that? This is why you got to talk to your kids, like having these open dialogue conversations of this might get ugly. Are you okay with it getting ugly? Like if you're down, I will support you. But if you're not ready for this, if hearing this gives you a different perspective, we can still support you, and you can have your own room and wear whatever pajamas you want and do your whole thing in your room and still feel good. But how do you feel about this? What is this going to do for you if it goes ugly and sour?
I love that. I think that's super fair. And I think it's super fair for mom to say it would really be my preference because I want to have a nice, relaxing vacay that you not drop this bomb. But I
think that's equally ugly. She's putting her daughter's true world on hold because mom wants to be comfortable.
But I feel like it just depends on if we're taking her at her word and the family is going to be cool with it, then she's just being a total asshole, really.
Right. I guess. I mean, if the family is going to be cool, you're being an absolute asshole. Then why is this even a problem, Mom? Why are we even having this conversation now?
I
think this is about mom's discomfort that mom's not comfy, not that mom's not okay. Mom's going to love her daughter, but mom's having to navigate some stuff right now. And that shouldn't be put on her daughter.
Yeah. I mean, I think I got nothing here. I tried to land a single punch, but in the end, by OP's own account, there's just really no ground here.
I unfortunately, I think mom might be the asshole.
I don't think I was able to really land anything. I mean, it would have to be a drastically different situation. AITA for not letting my trans daughter come out, and not letting was already an asshole move for me, by the way. But I was saying
not letting,
No, but you're right. You brought me on board. If
I had advised my daughter, advising is different than not letting.
No, but I think you're right. I think even because I was going to say the advising I would be okay with if she wrapped up the advising saying, I'd advise you not to do this and I'd prefer you not to do this. but I support you no matter what. But in a way, that's double speak, because really it should just be, I support you no matter what you want to do. I'm just warning you that X could happen and Y could happen. But going to the usual parental duty rules, which I'm a strict enforcer of, her comfort does not take mom's comfort does not take priority over daughter. Go for a run, mom. That's what I do. That's what I do, and I'm so hurt. AITA for not letting my
trans. Go for a run, mom. Come on.
AITA for not letting my trans daughter come out to our extended family until after our vacation. I think we got really nothing for you, mom. It is a full-on YTA.
Sorry.
Now this one is going to get
wild.
You
know what? I'm going to get real stereotypical, though. Go see therapist, mom.
There we go. Get therapy. It's on the sticker.
Some therapy surrounding your daughter coming out.
Hey, can you distribute some of our stickers in the club or what?
Yeah, send them to me.
Oh, we gotta send you. We'll send you a big
absolutely.
Stack of stickies.
Put a little QR code on there. We'll stick it up at some clubs. People will scan that all over the place. It's San Francisco. We're Tech City, baby.
Oh, we can do that for you. All right, folks. Our second story here. Excited for this one. This is going to be a wild ride. AITA for having a lights out wedding. I, 27F, am the daughter of the most amazing parents that ever did amaze.
Oh.
Okay. No, they are not perfect.
I wish I had amazing parents. Goodness.
But they've literally done everything they could in their lives to make sure I was happy to the best of their ability. They are also both blind. Being raised by blind parents wasn't without its challenges, but we always found solutions or compromises. But the one thing that was often a point of contention, especially when I was a teenager, was clothing and fashion. My parents have their own way of being fashionable, and rather than appearance, it's fabric/feel. This has resulted in them having a very eclectic sense of fashion, but I love it. I admit I hated it as a teenager, as I had no say over my own wardrobe. But I realized after I moved out that I really did prefer to feel comfortable in my clothes over how I looked in them. Took many stupid expensive clothing purchases to realize this, but I digress. Nothing is mismatched anymore, but I have a super cozy wardrobe. With the wedding planning in full swing, my FDH asked me if I was going to be okay. We think that's future dear husband. My future dear husband asked me if I was going to be okay with the photos. He did not mean this maliciously. It just didn't occur to him that I was originally planning to buy them clothing to wear. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, wouldn't a fabric wedding be special? Essentially, the whole wedding will be in the dark. I was inspired by that restaurant in the movie About Time. I realized that I don't want to dress my parents. I want them to be comfortable and to enjoy the wedding the way they experience it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I want to experience this special day as they would too. My future dear husband, honest to God, does not care. In his mind, the moment I said yes, I became his wife. I love him. I kind of hate OP. To avoid accidents, we're going to... I think they're just a little bit too... Exactly. They're too happy for me. I'm like, okay. To avoid accidents...
You're having such a good life. God.
Yeah, I'm just jealous.
Sorry,
to avoid accidents, we're going to be using glow stick lighting, and everyone will be provided glow bracelets/necklaces. They light up enough not to crash into each other, but not so much as to light up the room. We're also hiring event staff with night vision for this equipment too. When we announced, most of the family was supportive. My family goes without saying. Fiance's family is iffy. His brother loves the idea and is going to come in a velvet suit a la Austin Powers. Honestly, it's his parents that are really against it. We had a huge fight over it when they argued that it's not fair to punish the guests because my parents are blind. The reason I may think I'm the asshole is because part of his family, siding with his parents, are vowing to boycott if we don't have lights. My husband just thinks it's their loss, that his parents will attend, even if begrudgingly, but I know it hurt his relationship with them, and I don't want that. It's not that this is a hill I'm willing to die on, but it's my wedding, and this would be really special to me. In quotations, because my husband has told me he'd marry me in the Walmart if that's what I wanted. He just wants to marry me. Oh, that kind of brought me back in. AITA.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. The OP is really happy. Good for them. What a great wedding.
They are feeling the vibes.
They're in love. Goodness. Okay. Well, first thoughts. This is super cute. I think it's awesome.
I gotta say, all the crazy gimmicky weddings, I'm like, this is literally for two blind parents. I think that's beautiful and cute. And honestly, I think the concept's adorable.
It's really cute. And I would go to that wedding and be really stoked to experience something like that different, and also honoring the parents, but honoring how this person grew up. Like, what a great sentimental thing to bring in. Absolutely. I'm trying to think of how this would be awful at all. I think if I were to suggest anything, would maybe be like a place that was lit if people did want to take pictures or needed a break from the dark, because that can get really disorienting for someone who does see, and trying to like do, I don't know, how long are weddings now? Like 4 hours, 5 hours? That could be a lot. Was it the husband's parents that had a problem with it?
Yeah, the extended family wanted to boycott it.
Oh.
You know, the top comment here, solid quote 9133
Yeah.
wrote, "Okay, cool concept, sounds great on paper, but in reality, someone is going to get hurt. Someone's going to fall or miss a step. What if someone chokes on food? What about parents with kids? They'll lose the kids. People with allergies, they can't see what they're eating. This is a bad idea."
Okay.
You know, oh, there's a real chance.
That's. I'm sorry. Real chance of what?
There's a real chance of sexual assault.
Okay. Well, that is upsetting. I mean, I could definitely see the concern in someone falling or missing a step. But it sounds like they're going to light stuff pretty well. Yeah.
I think so. And look, I think, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe I'm crazy, but like, what do we mean by lights out? Is it totally pitch black the entire time?
Yeah.
There's a huge edit on this thread, and they just wrote, like, we've hired a wedding planner whose job it is to make sure it runs smoothly. They're being paid to factor any contingency to ensure it's safe. Like,
okay. Sounds like they've really thought about it.
I think this is awesome. So what? Some things aren't safe for everyone. Huh? Imagine if you were fucking blind and the whole world wasn't built for you, you piece of shit. You'll be okay.
Right. Yeah, this is absolutely challenging people to live outside of the norm of the regular able-bodied seeing person.
I think it's kind of radical, progressive. It's fucking
I'm
art.
kind of into it. Yeah, it's kind of arty. Yeah, I'm struggling to like see what would be the bad side of it. And
it is unsafe. I concede it's unsafe. Having a wedding is unsafe. Having an event with 150 people is unsafe.
Let me tell you, I've had events from 200 people to 1,300 people, and there is always something going wrong. There is always the potential of someone getting hurt. So what that it's dark? Have people never been in dark places before? Are people having a hard time navigating a dark space suddenly? Now that it's their kid's wedding, is that the problem?
I just think this attitude is ridiculous. You know, I think care can be exercised. I can totally understand if some people don't want to go, but I do think ultimately that this is radical. I think it's really interesting. I think this is the very opposite of the Game of Thrones cringe, which is indulgent and derivative. This is empathetic, and it's for the parents, and the husband is down. And look, if you're a grandpa and you're like, I don't want to do that, that scares me, then don't go. Then don't go. But have some respect for the parents of the bride. They're goddamn blind, and they've had to live in the goddamn seeing world, which is 0% built for them. Those little yellow bumps. Those little yellow bumps aren't that helpful. Those don't do anything. Those don't do enough, is what I'm saying. They don't do enough.
No, they don't do enough. Absolutely not. And also, like, have some faith in like the venue that you choose, or the people that you're going to plan this for. If you tell a place that you want to do lights out, or you find a place that's usually pretty dark, guaranteed they've got lights up and down the aisleways, and the stairs are yellow. And like, frankly, that's bullshit excuse. Like, that's absolutely just trying to like find and pull as much as you possibly can to make it not happen.
People are really coming for OP. Somebody else said OP wanting to embrace her parents' disability is making things more difficult for people with other disabilities. But you see, the thing is, when you start to play this game, it's like there's always going to be something. I think I never hear about blind people and how their plight. I think it's fucking hard. And personally,
it sounds hard. I couldn't do it.
And I often wonder, would I give up sound or would I give up vision? And it's a brutal question, so hard to know.
Oh, it's so brutal.
But like,
I wouldn't. I don't know what to pick.
I just feel like this is deeply personal. That's the other thing. Game of Thrones is not deeply personal. Game of Thrones is the largest media property ever. That's not a fact, but it's a fact for now. I made it a fact. Yeah. But in other words, these are her blind parents. This is deeply personal to her. And let's face it, it's her wedding. The wedding is more for the woman. Come on.
Or it's just, and I mean, the groom seems down for it.
The groom's
like,
down. The groom's 100% down.
He's like, this is cool. And also the other thing too that I'm kind of bringing back to with this, isn't it? It sounds like it's a lot about clothing and like comfort for her, about her parents being able to show up and like feel comfortable and possibly not worrying about being judged because of what they're wearing or how they're trying to be comfortable. So like, who are these other people trying to say that they don't get to be comfortable just because you're worried about things that aren't real or there, or we haven't even crossed the bridge of it being a problem for anyone else? That's not, that doesn't even seem to be a problem in their world, in their like wedding togetherness.
I think so. There is a comment here that says a low light wedding would probably be a better bet. Okay, that's fair. I wasn't taking it so freaking literally. It's like, yes, it's going to be generally no to low light, obviously. It shouldn't be pitch black.
Like they were going to be pitch black. Yeah,
they're not going to be blindfolded. And by the way, it's not as if we all literally have flashlights on our person now. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Now, if OP was like, no flashlights allowed, well, then I'd be like, okay, no, now you're being ridiculous. But
no.
And even as a big safety first fan, I think this is reasonable. And other people are like, oh, this is a legal liability. Okay, then have people sign a legal liability thing. I think this is a beautiful wedding concept. I think it's art. I think it's personal. This I would love to go. I think both you and I would love to go. And for all these reasons, AITA for
We're gonna go.
Let's go. Yeah, let's get this was posted 6 months ago, so probably already happened. AITA for having a lights out wedding. I think we're on the exact same page here, not the asshole. And the extended family is for all working together to boycott. Let parents.
Absolutely. And boycotting, Jesus, like that's harsh.
All right, everybody.
Picket signs, I hope.
I know, right? They're standing outside her apartment. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up on a silly one here. AITA for calling my sister's husband a piece of shit because he's representing my ex in our divorce. I asked my ex for a divorce 2 months ago, and I found out a week later that my sister's husband was going to be his solicitor. I wasn't totally surprised as my ex has helped his career a lot, but I was still hurt when my sister told me. I've avoided him since finding out, but my parents invited everyone over for dinner, and I missed them, so I went. I tried really hard to bite my tongue, but he kept referring to me as my ex's wife and told me that if he was me, he would stay married because I was going to lose a lot if I divorced my ex. I ended up telling him he was a real piece of shit in front of everybody, including his daughters. My sister got angry at me for saying that in front of her daughters, but I was so mad I told her I didn't care because he was a bastard, so now she's pissed off at me. AITA.
This guy sounds like the most unprofessional lawyer I've ever heard of.
I'm just shook that there's even a question on the propriety of this. It seems there's probably like, don't shit where you eat. Like, your sister's husband, like, is this guy a blithering idiot to take her on as a client? The answer is no, bro. You do not take on.
Dude, no.
You do not do this to someone that is your brother-in-law, right? Is that how that works? I'm terrible with families.
Yeah, so it's her sister's husband, so it's her brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Who is representing her husband. Dude, what are you doing? Like, are they bros from way back when? Then maybe. But also, he's bringing it up at a family dinner?
I mean, honestly, whether it gets brought up or not, I'm just like, I think this is plainly unethical. It's a conflict of interest.
Absolutely.
It's just like, how much of a loser lawyer are you that you're going to take a client that is against someone that you're related to? Like, you're a fucking savage. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, what are you doing?
You are a piece of shit. That's what a piece of shit would do.
Absolutely a piece of shit. He's an unprofessional piece of shit. And then also like advising her to stay with him because she's going to lose a lot. Like, what is that?
No, forget it.
No. And okay, you're like, no, maybe you shouldn't cuss in front of your nieces and nephews. Maybe we could have handled that a little better. But no, if you're going to keep bringing it up and he's talking about it and he's causing turmoil at some family something, like, she had every right to be upset. I would have been upset.
A lot of people are saying conflict of interest, against the ethics, report him. So it does strike me as something that would be professionally unethical because, you know, he knows the sister and the sister would obviously have insight into what her brother is up to. I'm just really stuck on how much of a freaking loser are you that you would take this client on? Like, what? You ain't got nobody else? You don't have anybody else getting your legal services?
Yeah, no one else is coming to see you. Yeah. This like ex-husband so strapped for cash that he had to go to someone he knows because he needs it pro bono. Like I just want all the juice on this. I want to know all the drama, the problems, or how this even came to be because this sounds wild.
This is so wild. I mean, everyone is saying the same thing. Ethics breach, NTA. I can't even find a single dissenting comment.
There's nothing. No one's against. No one's got the opposite idea.
Nobody. This is obviously wrong. This is no way to live your life, man. It's just plainly unethical. No brainer. Funny in its obviousness. AITA for calling my sister's husband a piece of shit because he's representing my ex in our divorce. Everyone and their mother agrees it's not the asshole, and he is. Christian, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I don't know if I got to tell you this, but I've been a listener since 2021, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my God! Well, I'm so happy to have you as a listener, and I will end on one final question. Now, I don't think I offended you. I think I was pretty good. It's pretty good.
No, I think you did a great job, and especially it's how you word questions sometimes, you know? Curiosity is great, and then sometimes it's about how you word it. So you did good, Danny.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to ask you a question where you can offend me. As you may know, I try to hide this, but it is true. My favorite musician is DJ, but mainly producer Deadmau5, and you're in that scene. So what do you think of Deadmau5?
I don't got anything against him.
No, give it to me straight. You're high. I can see you're trying to just say it.
Well, here's the thing is I don't like his music.
Get the fuck out of my show. You're never welcome back.
You know what, though? Our worlds did collide. He did do a collaboration with Mr. Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance, and that's a pretty banger track.
Gerard Way is on a couple Deadmau5 tracks.
Yeah. There's one in particular that I really like.
Professional Griefers?
Yeah, I get to play that at shows sometimes.
You play Professional Griefers? I freaking love that track.
Yeah, I played it. You'll find this cute. I played it at a bondage club back in 2019, and someone was flogging their partner to Professional Grievers. So it was a good time.
That's amazing. This has been a blast and a half, Christian. Thank you so much for reaching out. And I will tell you guys, I do have a policy, which is that if you're a trans person or any perspective that you feel has been underrepresented on the pod and you want to be represented, then reach out to me. I stand behind that, and I'm really happy you did it.
I am so happy I did too. And thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's the show. We'll see you next time. Bye.